What to do with, yeah, so all of these Sunday swings are in the Kajabi. So if you guys are in here, you guys have to have access to that in there. So let me okay. All right, let me find trading view. Got it. All right, pretty interesting week coming now ahead. Let me just share my screen. All right, fine. So pretty interesting week coming ahead. As of right now, I'm not seeing anything too crazy. I don't really see anything too interesting. But we're gonna go over a little bit of last week's action, and we'll see what we could kind of figure out for this week, right? So last week, I know our main focus was NZD USD and NZD CAD. They played out and they pulled back towards the end of the week. Played out perfectly, pulled back towards the end of the week. Everything is pretty much okay with them. Euro GBP, still waiting for it to pull up to this area. If it doesn't pull up to that area, not doing anything. You guys are seeing the importance of buying at a solid area of interest. Because if you notice, let's say we would have taken this trade here because of the structure. Trade didn't go far enough because we weren't at an actual level. This could have been considered a level here, but notice how it's nowhere near as strong as this level, because there's just it's just simply more taps here. There's more probabilities of it going to the upside versus the other point. Let's say right here it has 3, 4, 5 points, making it 50% strong, versus let's say we would have marked off this as the area of interest. It kind of only has 1 point, so it has 10%. You know, you pretty much just, it's pretty self-explanatory. You want to be buying at the area that gets the most touches. So for this week, all I am really interested in is Euro GBP, AUD JPY, GU, and then the NZD pairs, right? So I'm gonna start off with Euro JPY. First of all, we are overall bullish, so we can't help to understand that we are bullish on the monthly. I don't really use the monthly, but you know, I just take a peek at it every once in a while. We are still definitely bullish on the weekly. You notice we're above this structure level on the weekly, making the weekly still bullish. The daily is bearish, and then the 4-hour is still bearish. Do you guys all agree? Type 1 if yes, type 2 if no. Just want to make sure we are all on the same page. Bearish. All right, perfect, fire. So as of right now, we got to keep in mind that we are at a possible area where the weekly or the monthly time frame could be creating this higher low to go to the upside. Like, we need to really consider that, because it's definitely a possibility. Obviously, we still have 22 days left within this candle, so this is technically not a doji as of right now, because it hasn't closed. It still has a whole 22 days to close as a candlestick. So it can close like this, it can close like this, it can close like this, who knows, right? But what we do know is that we do have a strong weekly doji rejection from the weekly EMA. And if we kind of draw out a little zone right here, we've kind of had a rejection from 1, 2, 3, 4 points. So we're at the area where the weekly kind of had to do this pullback for the monthly to have the bigger push to the upside, right? You guys are kind of understanding what I'm painting with the higher time frames. Type 1 if yes, type 2 if no, because it's going to make sense now when we go down to the lower time frames. Fire. All right, so when we go now to the daily, we notice the daily is still technically bearish, because obviously we are lower low, lower high, lower low, potential lower high to have a new low. So I don't really like where we are on the daily, simply because, you know, we aren't really rejecting a strong level. A nice level would technically be this point right here, because if you notice, it has, let's take this point away because we're not here anymore. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We kind of wicked into it, which is okay, it's fine. And we put a box in the middle, our round psychological level kind of drops right at the bottom of that point, which is 140-100. So we would kind of have to, you know, adjust this box a little bit, maybe squeeze the top a little bit more, and then we'll just drag it down just a little bit to get that 140-100. So the only way I will take this trade, yes, the 4-hour is still bearish. This is still technically the lower high point right here. this point right here, or this one. So the only way I would take this trade short is if we create a lower high to then sell. So I need to get the break under this level of support. And by the time it has the break, then we get the retest, retesting the EMA. Literally what it did right here. Like, it's the same thing. If you notice, all I want is this push. I want the retest, the bearish engulfing, set and forget. You guys have seen that, right? Does that make sense? It's super simple. The only thing that you have to take in consideration is where we are on the weekly, because technically on the weekly, we are pretty much right here, or right around here. So we could be at the area where we have the push to the upside, and we're getting indication that we are, because obviously we have a huge weekly doji rejection candlestick. So now, can we get this week, or are we going to fill? You get me? These are just two simple questions we have to ask, and the only way we know is by waiting for the probabilities to happen. So the first trade I want is this one, to take the sell, because it's just going with the daily and the 4 hour. It's the kind of a day trade. And if not, I will wait for this to get the buy. So I don't care what this does. As long as it does either or, I'm going to take the trade. And if it simply stays in here all week, pretty self-explanatory, just do nothing. You just go to another pair. The only thing about that, waiting for the break and the closure above, is I would still be technically bearish on the daily. But, you know, obviously, in order for us to create a higher high, we have to do it somehow. We got to start somewhere. So it'll start somewhere like this to then go bullish. But at that point, this trade would just then be a 20% trade, just having the daily bearish. Does that make sense? Perfect. Fire. So for right now, this is what I got for Euro JPY, because we don't care what happens. Whatever happens, we just react and adapt to whatever makes the most sense. So that's Euro JPY. AUD JPY is very similar. You know, we've been calling, I've been calling this pullback to this level since way up here. Like, this whole entire move, we've seen it together. You guys can go back to the previous Zooms. Been calling the whole thing. I've literally said all we got to do is figure out how to hop in here. Like, that's all you got to do. It's not that complicated. The waves are going south. Just figure out how to jump on. So I don't think we're done. I don't think we're done with this pullback. I do think the monthly time frame still has to come all the way to this level here, simply because I don't think this month we're gonna do this. I just don't think so. And I don't think we're gonna, you know, I just don't think so. I think right now we're just having that that monthly wick, retest these wicks to then go to the downside. If you go to the weekly time frame, it's a little bit of a turn off of this candlestick because it's very strong, you know, morning star formation. But we're under the weekly EMA, we're under this level of support. And if you go down to the daily time frame, we're still bearish in the daily, very strong level, like I mentioned. Is there a round psychological level in here? There is 9100. So we could even pop up this box to right there. So for me, I would need the shift of structure on the 4 hour, because right now we are like this. We are weekly bearish. So this trade, all we need is for the 4 hour to break the structure, and then we're pretty much selling to the downside. So this is actually my #1 trade setup for the week. And the reason why I kind of just have it marked off here, it's because on the 1 hour, it'll break it, retest the EMA, simple sell. Does that make sense? Easy, too easy? What do you guys think? Isn't the 4 hour bearish on AJ? I don't know. Let me double check. So if this were to be let's say this were to be lower low, lower high, higher high, higher low, higher high. See how we body closed above? Does that make sense now, Kobe? Yeah. He's looking more before. Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, based off of this structure point, yeah, you're right, bro. 100%. Yeah. If you're looking at this point right here, we are still technically bearish. My bad. Yeah, that's a good call. So yeah, technically right now we are still bearish on the 4 hour. Fire. Appreciate it, bro. But for me, I still can't take the trade here no matter what, because again, if you sell, you need to sell at a lower high. You can't sell technically at a higher high. And as of right now, we're at a higher high. So I would still need this to then take the trade to the downside. Does that make sense? Appreciate that, Kobe. Yeah, if you guys see something, call it out, because that was good. That was really, really good. Fire. So next we got GBP USD. So GBP USD, exactly, yeah, exactly. That's just correct. So GBP USD, you guys remember last week? This is it's just the beautiful part about having a trading plan, or probably like a week, I think it was a week ago. We were waiting for GBP USD to break above this retest to go long. If not, you simply just react and adapt and take the sell to the downside. That's exactly what we're doing. So if you notice, the longs aren't really there anymore. And then I personally think, I believe, based off of my experience, based off of the amount of times I've seen this, I think this can possibly fill this wick. And if it doesn't fill the wick, then it will obviously have a beautiful bullish engulfing candlestick, something like this. Now, if that happens, we are ready for both sides. If you notice, this is a massive daily bullish engulfing, which is not the ideal thing to take a sell. So as of right now, weekly is still bullish. The daily is tech. I would still count the daily as bearish, because I wouldn't count this as a lower high. So the daily is bearish, and then the 4 hour, let's take this off. And then the 4 hour is bullish. So the only reason why I'm considering shorts right now is simply because of where we are and how clean it looks. Clearly, whenever we're under the zone, we're selling. We're selling. We're selling. Whenever we're above, we're buying. We're buying. We're buying. We're buying. We're buying. So on and so forth. So right now, the only way I can take this trade short is if we have a lower time frame shift. It's looking a little weird because these moves were just super fast on Friday, which is not the most ideal situation. So I would kind of need for this to come into here and give me some shift of structure to take the sell. But I'm purely basing this trade based off of the area we are. And if not, we simply just wait for this to body close above, retest, and we take the trade long. It's really that simple, because the overall trade we should be taking is the buy. So technically right now, the 4 hour is bullish. You guys see right here how we had lower low, lower high, lower low. 4 hour is bullish. So I think we can either get a little sell, because we're under the level. So the probability of us having a rejection from here are very high. But you got to keep in mind, we'll probably only have a pullback to maybe here, because at this level, we have level of resistance, resistance, support, support. And then here's where we will have the push to the upside, so on and so forth. And here's where the EMA shifts to the upside, taking us now along with the weekly, daily time frame. So I think we can have a little retracement here. If it makes sense and you can capitalize off of it, down for it. If not, we just wait for this trade to the upside. Does that make sense? Type 1 if yes, type 2 if no. I see a lot of these, which is fire. Perfect. So yeah, so this is looking solid. NZD USD. Realistically, I'm just like whatever about it. I like how it's at this area. Don't like how the 4 hours now bullish. It's kind of the same thing as the GBP USD. If you notice, they literally look the same. They have the same wick. They have kind of like the same structure going on. So for me, kind of here to be the same thing. We could get a nice sell since we're under this very important level. Whenever we sell, or we just simply wait for the break above, retest, buy. That's literally it. NZD CAD, just kind of looking at it. Remember when we were calling this from this top of the candlestick here? Like, remember, I can't make this up. You know, I've been calling it since this perfect wick right here, and I definitely don't think we're done. We still got. We're coming all the way here. We're coming here. I mean, I don't know what, like, how else to like bet or whatever. But we're coming here, or we're coming here. I don't want to say guaranteed, but I'm very confident about it. So we got to figure out how do we get it. I actually like NZD CAD more than NZD. So if you notice right now, daily time frame is bearish. And then the 4-hour time frame is bearish as well. I don't think right now where we are is at a strong level to sell. I want to sell at this level right here. This level right here is a very strong level of, well, not super strong level, but I feel, I mean, I can drag it all the way left, show you guys. We got some support, resistance. And all I need is for price to get into here. I mean, you guys already know. We just simply come into here. It's literally doing it for us. Comes into here, rejects, shifts this structure point right here. We sell. That's literally it. So if you guys have it. My area of interest. So this is what I'm looking for, NZD CAD. And I'm gonna put a huge set and forget on this because this is going to head all the way to this area here. Could be a clean 1 to 5. You risk 2%, there's 10% you made for the month. That's all you need. I mean, I'm okay with that, you know. So this is what I'm looking at for NZD CAD. That's pretty much it for the week. Let me stop the recording.